All righty. Good evening, everybody. Denny J here in Cafe USGMRS. Yeah, we tried this last week. If you guys weren't here last week, both Dean and Edward were trying some live streaming. I think Edward's doing it to Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to be able to show you the app, do some screen captures or some screen sharing. So, Edward, why don't you explain what you're doing over there and tell them how they can join?
WRTA 613 on Cafe, streaming across the Facebook platform. Stand by 1 second. All right. Okay, so we are currently streaming across the USGMRS Facebook group. I will be monitoring any chat conversation that goes across there. If you have any questions and you're monitoring on the USGMRS Facebook group, please feel free to go ahead and comment within the comment section, and I will broadcast it out over here over RF. I'm getting ready to tie in the USGMRS-NC group over here to the cafe, which will also broadcast over the USGMRS-NC Zello group. So this will be going over a cross-network platform today. If you're going to be on the Zello group and you have any questions, you will be able to key up and hear everything that comes across and vice versa. Again, if you would like to monitor the live stream, it is on the USGMRS Facebook group, and you can find us on Facebook by just typing.
Okay, you dropped off there at the end, so I hope you're done transmitting. And I see Robert just joined us. Robert, are you doing anything by bridging over to any All-Star channels? Come on in and let us know what you're up to. WRNV 9, what's your call here? 921. Go ahead, WRON 731 net control. He might be a little busy. We don't know for sure what he's up to over on his end, but probably tied in with what Edward's doing and bringing the All-Star nodes probably into some of those different bridges between different channels. And when Edward said NC, he's talking about the North Carolina State Group, the state network channel, and we have several others in here representing their state network channels. I hope we have a lot of them that would have questions or sharing with us what's going on in their state, maybe share some of their discouraging moments or their successes, give them a chance to ask some questions about maybe how they can better market this or bring people in. I know it can be kind of frustrating. We have many people joining the Facebook groups, but not as many joining the HT app and the network channels, which is really what this is all about. There's plenty of Facebook groups to join to talk about these things, and of course, even there, not many are posting. So I know as leaders in this group, we're kind of struggling to get people to participate, jump in, and share things, whether text or some of their projects they're working on, experiences with GMRS, or even ham radio, because this is both for ham and GMRS. Break. I can share with you what I'm doing here. Now, I've got 2 Android phones, and I'm using 2 radios. I've got the RT99 that right now I'm using for ham radio. I've got the phone set to bridge it from my personal channel with my call sign to a repeater up in Branson. Good group of guys up there and gals. And so I'm bridging up there. It's really clean. They can't really tell if I'm on a microphone or if I'm on my phone. But it also gives others the opportunity to join in conversations through that repeater, even though they may be across the country. So that's one of the things I'm doing there. And that's running on low power. I've got a 13-element beam pointed north to or northwest to the repeater and got a solid connection in there. And then I've got my BTEC GMRS Pro that's right here in the house, and it's running low power, connected to another spare Android phone in this channel right now. So I could easily grab a radio and go walking around the property looking at the deer or whatnot and still come into the channel here for you all to hear. So trying to make some practical use of it. I did a presentation at our ham radio club Thursday night, and I've already got some leads to do some presentations for some clubs up in southwest Missouri, Branson, and another club over in another town just northwest of them. So I think that's going to be the best way to build interest in what we're doing here is one-on-one presentations at clubs where people can ask questions. But we can start by throwing down some seed in our Facebook groups, share your experiences, share pictures, share your stories, and maybe some tutorial videos like I've been doing and Edward's been doing. Those are ways that we can kind of plant some seeds and get people at least familiar with the app, the name, and some of the terminology we use, like binding channels and stuff like that. So let's throw it out there for anyone who would like to check in. Just go ahead and identify. Pay attention to the screen there. If you see someone else that's coming at the same time you are, you might want to just back off and let them take it. And go ahead and give us your name, call sign, location, and then we'll give you the floor. You can tell us what you're doing, ask your questions, or whatever's on your mind. So go ahead. This is WRON 731 Net Control for the HT Saturday Night Live Net. Very good, Dean. Are any of them asking any questions? All right, very good. Well, Dean has had a challenging week. His truck broke down. I gave him some free time in the hotel room to mess around with Facebook and do some more marketing and some visionary planning and things. So I don't think he minded too bad having some downtime. We had a wonderful week. The weather's been fantastic here, although we do need rain. It's been super dry, and have a lot of plans for the upcoming week. Visiting with people and eating at other people's houses and participating in Sukkot, which is a very interesting biblical festival. In fact, one of our good friends up in Branson, Missouri, is going to be coming to our place Tuesday night, and we're going to go down to our kids and celebrate in the sukkah. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of a homemade outdoor shack, and they have it up for about 8 days. They pretty much live in it, eating and having a good time with families coming from all over. So it's going to be a fun week. Probably not as much radio.
USGMRS Arizona. Relatively new. Learning a lot about the HT app. Just sitting down and grabbing a bite to eat to listen to the first net. So I'm going to kick back, listen, and hopefully pick up some new tips to grow the group. Back to Net Control in WRUB 390.
Very good, Rob. Well, thanks for checking in, and it's been fun hooking up with you every morning on our Telegram channel, too, where a lot of us check in and talk technology and configuring things and just having a good time. It's been good getting to know you, and looking forward to what you're going to do with the Arizona group. Anyone else?
WRNL 936, Arthur in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, go ahead, Arthur. Good to hear you tonight. Haven't talked to you for quite a while. I know you're a busy working man, but good to have you check in tonight. So what are you up to?
So, yep, been busy working, putting in some long hours and everything at work. So, and I missed this net last Saturday. I was actually had to attend a friend's birthday party at the same time. I had the net on the app in the background, but with all the conversations going on and everything, it made it kind of hard to hear what was going on last week's net. So, but timing worked out this week that I was able to actually be.
Well, very good. I hope you took advantage of the file that I shared and also some of the videos that the other guys have recorded to stream. So if you miss out, you can always listen to it or watch the information that's being shared. Edward's doing some screen sharing of the app to show people how to do various things, and we'll do some of that tonight too. But if you miss it, don't feel bad. You'll still be able to participate just watching and listening. Thanks for checking in, Arthur, and hopefully you'll be able to hang around the rest of the evening.
WRQJ 3.
Mr. Dale's in the house.
Excuse me, I had to cough there. I'm kind of eating lunch, dinner at the same time. My name is Dale, WRQJ 371, aka KB5NFT. Today I had the pleasure of doing my PowerPoint HT app and GMRS presentation for the Cedar Creek Amateur Radio Club here in the Texas area. Just tonight, I've had an possible invite to go over to a senior apartment living center. Maybe I can grab some of those guys and get those interested. And I'm also today, I think I made a contact with a family that does homeschooling. So I'm making small steps of progress. I do have, along with Gabe that's on here, we have the USGMRS Texas group on the channel. This is WRKW. I don't know. I can't remember my call sign. WRKUJ, whatever.
No problem. We can see you here. Well, very good. Hey, proud of you. You're doing a super job. And you and Gabe are a good team to make this thing grow in Texas. We're enjoying listening to you and watching you. And thanks for checking into our Telegram group in the mornings, too. Appreciate you so much. Who's next? Don't be bashful now, guys. Feel free to check in. You don't have to say a lot. Just tell us who you are, where you're from. That's good enough, too. And maybe tell us what kind of a radio or how you're using. All right. Well, I've got a question to throw out to some of you here. I know we've had some people, one of our family members, and this morning in the chat, we heard from our friend Jim from Indiana, the professor, and he was very frustrated because he all of a sudden could not log into his HT account. I'm just curious, has anybody else had that problem? And if you've had that problem and solved it, you might want to jump in and share your solution to fix that problem. I know it's kind of annoying, especially if you're trying to sell someone on it and they create an account and then they try and log in and they say it's the wrong password. It hasn't happened to me yet, thankfully, but I know it's happened to several. So has that happened to you? And have you fixed it? If you've got an answer, feel free to jump in with your solution.
Yeah, 921 will take this.
Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, the biggest problem is going to be there's not a lot you can do about it. Basically, the HT app does connect to a central server. Even though it does say it has a US one, it also has one in China as well. This sometimes happens when they're doing updates. It sometimes happens when they're doing work on the server. And some people will lose their login. I know that 94 has had this happen to him quite a bit. And I know that Dean, who's probably catching a nap here, 839, has also had it happen. And in some cases, it's a simple case of wait and see. Wait until they fix their end of the server that's causing the problem. You are able, however, to change your server. There is an option in the server where you can change it from China to America. So that may be an option to try, to simply flip the server to a different location and then see if it'll get you in. That may indicate a single server issue. But if you're unsuccessful across, I may have timed out, but I'll say, if you flip each server and one of them gets you in, great. And if all three doesn't work, then it might be a case of wait and see, unfortunately. WRNV921.
Well, thanks for that info, Robert. Do you know for sure if the USA server is actually residing in the USA? I mean, it could be a separate server in China for all we know. Do you know for a fact?
For a fact, sir, I don't even know how I'm alive. So, no, I have no clue. I really am not in a position where I can 100% say this is a bona fide US server, or if it's just a server to keep the English language people off.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that myself. Well, it's kind of like running Discord. You know, Discord has the option of selecting from a number of different servers. If you've got latency issues or dropouts or whatever, get better results on different servers. So trouble is, though, you can't really log in and change the server. I mean, you have to be logged in to be able to do that, as far as I know. But anyway, thanks for sharing that. And yeah, there are some that have had some issues. I know Dean was trying to help Jim today. Dean, have you got any suggestions how you can work around that problem? WRKU 839, WRON 731.
WRKU 839. Now, the only thing I can say is maybe shoot the guy email and maybe go to the website and see if you can find the APK to download the app direct from the source. I ran into that issue a while ago, but it didn't work for Jim today, so I'm not sure exactly if it'll work for anybody.
Yeah, I didn't think we had any solutions or success with Jim today, and I know he's kind of frustrated. It happens to him frequently, which makes me wonder if it's got something to do with the device or the cellular service or the Wi-Fi you're using, or who knows the things that could contribute to it. But yeah, I like what Rob said. Sometimes it's just a wait and see. Just leave it alone for a couple of days and come back and see if it changes. I know I had a situation with our niece, got her on board, and she couldn't log in and made me look like a fool. She took it off of her phone, and I don't think she's interested anymore. But I sent off an email to Devin, and he said he checked into it, got a response a day later, and he said everything looked good here. She's got her email address and password is here. So he didn't know what else to say. But anyway, those things happen, I guess. Let's see. There was another thing I wanted to make people aware of, and that is if you are bridging to radio and you've got multiple connections to multiple network channels, be really careful. Because if you're doing ham radio and GMRS on that app, and you've got those channels linked, but you're in one channel, one RF channel, like say you're on GMRS, like we are here, and you have it bridged to a particular GMRS network channel, but then you also have a ham radio network channel that is linked in your app, but not bridged to the channel. Sometimes, probably more frequently than not, the transmission in one goes out to that one too. So you'd be doing GMRS on ham radio frequency maybe, or in a group that has people connected to their radio on ham radio frequencies, and vice versa. And in some of our conversations here, that has happened more often than we care to admit, and we have to be careful. The suggestion is make sure you use simple mode, one channel at a time, one network channel at a time. Anybody have any experience?
Yeah, I am WR2J371.
Go ahead, Dale.
About 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, maybe 4, with my 7500, I had turned on the APRS, and I had it, one of the channels in the HT app was to the local 2-meter repeater, and I got this call that was slapping me on the hands saying that I was beaconing across the local 2-meter repeater, and I immediately turned off the 7500.
Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing when those things happen. I'm very careful about connecting to repeaters. Simplex, I don't worry so much about, but I've found it enough times happening where I'm transmitting, thinking I'm in GMRS, and it's going out of a ham radio network channel, and not knowing for sure if anyone out there is bridging it to their amateur radio frequencies. But anyway, got to be careful. Anybody else out there with any questions before I turn it over to Edward? Edward's probably got some things on his mind, things that he's been doing that he might like to give a little presentation on how to accomplish a certain thing in the app, and he can share that screen there in the Facebook group. And if you're not seeing it because you're here in this channel only on the HT app, you can always watch this video later when he saves it to the Facebook group up there in the mothership, the USGMRS Facebook group. So any other questions before?
I have a quick question, WRQJ 371. Do we know the 3 different server IP addresses so that we could either ping them or trace route them or try to identify them to see where they are? WRQJ 371.
Well, I've never seen them. Robert, have you seen them?
Sorry about that. No, I haven't, but if the worst comes to the worst, I guess we could always try to Wireshark them and figure out where they're going.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I know a lot of people use that program for checking all that stuff out. That would be interesting to find out. Anyway, any other questions?
WRJU299. Don't have any questions, but I am in here now. We finished our supper. Just wanted to let everybody know we are monitoring and watching it on YouTube.
Ah, very good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your dinner, and whatever you missed, you can always watch the reruns. Edward, what have you got? What's on your mind that you think would be useful for us to actually see how you do it on the HT app?
TA613 coming across from Zello, tied over to the North Carolina system. And I wanted to show that this actually does work, and I have been listening on Zello to make sure that the audio has been coming back across. I would ask that as we progress forward, leave a little bit of space, as there are 3 other members on the Zello group. They are listening. I'm sure they may have some questions or would like to add additional positive comments to this. With that being said, if you are looking at the live stream on Facebook, and you have it set up for, you already have it bound to your radio, you pick any one of the group boxes and you push and hold where it pops up the little menu, and you will see where it says bind, and then if you already have it bind, you will see sync and relay. Leave sync off, but you click relay, and that will turn your phone, your radio into a simplex relay. Basically, everything that comes across the network will broadcast out over RF, and anybody that broadcasts over RF will go right back over to network. WRTA 613 for break.
Well, I have a quick question for you there, Edward, regarding that sync button. So clarify for me, if you have that sync button checked and someone else comes in the network channel and they're using a radio that's bridged to that network channel, are they then free to change that frequency, or are they locked in at whatever you've got it set on yours?
I'll take that if you don't mind.
Hey, go ahead, Dean.
All right, WRKU 839. So the only time that it will force somebody else who is connecting with a radio to the same frequency you have is if you set your network channel up that way. when you initially make your network channel, there is an extra menu where you can set a particular frequency and either a CTCSS tone or a DCS tone. That would be the only reason you'd have to worry about the sync. So if we'll say, for instance, with this cafe, you could have set it up with a particular frequency, and anybody else with a radio, when they connected to you, it would have changed their radio automatically to that. Or you could hit the or uncheck the box for sync, and then that would leave them free to do so. That's
All right. Thanks for clarifying that. Edward, go ahead. Continue on.
Yeah, 613. So yes, Dean's correct on that. So if someone has a group network that they created and they set up the frequency and PL or DCS tones, anybody that leaves that sync check mark, that will automatically set their radio up to that same frequency and PL tone. If they want to utilize something different, they have to uncheck that box. It's recommended that anybody that doesn't fully understand it, just leave it checked. That way you're not doing something that could get you into trouble. Outside of that, us on the team have been working on doing improvements. As you can hear, I'm talking across Zello over here onto the HT app. And anybody that is looking at the live stream, you will see it says WRTA 613 base, and that's because I have a Android device at the house that is tied into the RT99, and the Zello is hooked into a APRS audio cable to a Bofang, and you can tell that the audio is actually really decent. If you want to learn how to do something like that for your own setup, for your own area, and if you're planning on running your own little network, I will happily walk you through on the majority of the settings and how to test to make sure you're coming across on both from the HT out through RF for your any compatible radios that work for the HT app over to Zello and vice versa. Any questions?
So generally, where is that Zello channel connected to as a network channel in the group?
The Zello channel that I'm talking across right now is labeled USGMRS-NC, and it is normally typed to my state hub. You can find it on Zello, all capitalizations, USGMRS-NC, and it will, if you talk across it, it will go across my hub and anybody that's connected to it, either on the HT app, eHub, or Zello group. I am working on getting another system up and running specifically for national, and letting Dean and Robert take care of that, and it's just having it work on my end for them to tie it however they wish. At any given time. TA 613.
Roger that. Very good. So I imagine you probably have some password, or you're trusting people as they come in, as they prove to you that they are licensed GMRS users. And I imagine those that are in the group right now are probably GMRS users. Maybe we could just take a break and let those guys check in with their call sign and say where they're from, their name and call sign, and where they're located through the Zello app. So if you have been given trusting permission to speak, go ahead and identify and let us know who you are and where you're at. WRON 731 in the HT Saturday Night Live net.
WRTA-613. I see Martin. Martin, would you like to go ahead and key up and say hi to the rest of the USGMRS members here? I see you in the Zillow group there. WRTA-613.
Okay, just wanted to give plenty of time for them to jump in if they like. But good job, Edward. It sounds really very good. We know that sometimes bridging those things can degrade the audio to the point where it's not really enjoyable to listen to. But you're sounding great. You've got the level set very well. Congratulations. Anybody else want to check in? If you just dropped in or anyone has come up with another question or something else you'd like to talk about, feel free to jump in.
Question, WRUB 398.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, not finding the USGMRS group in Zello, so I must have something off, or is it cap or another hyphen or something, or just trying to find it.
Yeah, it was all caps, USGMRS-NC for North Carolina. And apparently on Zello nowadays, you really have to be very specific in how you put it in there or it doesn't come up. You can't just do a general search like you can for network channels on the HT app. That's a feature that they've changed, I think, over the years. It used to be you could just put in a couple of words or something and all of the different channels with that in it would come up. But I guess they were feeling that maybe it brought in too many troublemakers, so they stopped that, and now you have to very specifically type in a channel there on Zello. So all caps, USGMRS-NC.
WRTA-613.
Yep, go ahead, Edward.
Do a last call on the Zello group here. I see that we have 6 other members in here. Any one of you would like to go ahead and key up, make sure to go ahead and give your call sign real quick. Get you in on the check-in list for the Saturday night net check-in for USGMRS Cafe.
WRJU299, this is Gabe in Houston, and we're on Zello.
Okay, Gabe, very good. And it's interesting to hear a comparative audio. When you came in on the app, it was obviously much more clear. This app has excellent audio. So if you were binding to just your radio and using your phone as a speaker microphone, basically, to control your radio and to speak to it, you can rest assured that the audio going out over the air is going to be top quality. That's the feedback I've gotten connecting to like the Branson repeater here. They can't tell I'm on the phone. They say it's just excellent audio. But when you start doing bridging to like All-Star, then from there you're going into Zello or Echolink, there's going to be a slow degradation of audio quality. So it's nice to compare. Now, we've been listening to Edward on Zello. Edward, you want to come back through a different device so we can get a side-by-side comparison?
Can we had a member try to do a check-in? Martin, you want to do that again? WRTA-613.
WRJ-371, check-in feature.
Well, that sounded like Dale. Did sound like Martin. Is Martin still trying to get in?
WRTA 613. I know he's in there. He tried to come across. It takes him a minute to get back over across here. Yes, that was Dale. Michael, you want to give that check-in one more time? We'll give you about 10 seconds to be able to get back to us. Dale, stand by 1 second. WRTA 613. Well, Michael did try to come across there, and you were keyed up at the time there, Denny. We'll come back around him in a little bit. Dale, go ahead and give that shot one more time. This is me talking on the B-Tech GMRS Pro going into the N75 here in the truck, and you can hear the difference between the audio of the network radio that was talking across on Zello and here on the HT app as well.
WRQ 371 Dallas. Partial volume down among the blue stacks on the Cafe USGMRS. I am talking to you on my phone via Zello through the Zello connection. WRQJ 371.
Dale, that was a good check-in. You came in loud and clear from Zello over here to the HTA app. Sorry. So yes, there is a Zello group. It is specifically named USGMRS-NC. There is a group that is going to be assigned specifically for national. I am working with the team to make sure that it is geared for national and not for my state. For others that would like to do something similar, I will help everyone work through that and get that squared up. Make sure you have the right equipment, make sure you have the audio set up correctly, and that you can add other people who don't have an RF radio but have a GMRS license and be able to get them onto the air. So with that being said, I'm going to pass this back over to our net controller, Denny, and if anybody would like to do a late check-in, Denny will get back over and we'll do one more round on that. WRTA 613 coming across the HD app and Zello and doing live streaming on Facebook. We have 3 viewers right now, and anybody that is listening, if you have any questions, please type in the comment box. Make sure to include your call sign so I can go ahead and get you on the air. WRTA 613.
Very good. Thanks, Edward. Yeah, I was listening on the Zello app on my iPhone here too. Decided not to transmit in there at this point, but good job. Good job. So you guys can see some of the things that are being done, and like Edward said, he'd be glad to walk you through setting up something like that if you want to do that yourself in your state or your county or your community or whatever you want to do. It's all experimentation and fun and communications. And you might think down the road of maybe an emergency situation that something like this would come in handy for. I was talking to the guy, a good friend of mine, who has been running the South Carolina state group, and he brought up a situation there where a little child was lost, and he said it would have been great if all those people that were out there looking for that child were either using their radio or a phone in one of these channels set up specifically for that, where maybe you had one person in charge of tracking where everybody's at because of the ability of your phone to broadcast into the channel your GPS coordinates, or even your radio if you're using one of the specific radios like the N75. All individuals could be monitoring on the map and seeing the location of everybody, and might come in handy in some kind of a search and rescue operation. We even had a conversation at our club meeting Thursday night about such an experience a woman had, and thought, man, I wish I would have had something like this at that point. Would have come in really handy. So anybody else with any questions or comments? WR1 731.
Yeah, I have a question. Where again did you find that?
Go ahead, Arthur. I had mine muted. Unfortunately, I wasn't hearing what you said because I had muted it when I was over on my iPhone. I didn't want to get feedback. Please repeat, or if you just were given your ID, go ahead and ask your question or make your comment.
Yeah, I was just asking again when it was mentioned about that sync option for the channels, for the network bonded channels. I was just curious how again to.
Well, that would be in your binding of an RF channel on your radio to a network channel. So let's say that you've got the RT99 and you've got an Android device that you're running it with, and you want to connect it to this channel here that we're in. Well, you're going to create your own. Yeah, you'd have to create your own channel, like maybe for your family or your community, and give it a name. But in the setting and binding it, you would decide that you're going to check one of two boxes or both boxes, the sync and the relay. So if you wanted to just use your radio, your HT communicating with that base radio, and use it just as a Bluetooth speaker microphone, then you would leave the relay unchecked, and you wouldn't even have to worry about the syncing because it's basically just for you. But if you wanted to, you could do it, and it would automatically sync your radio also, and anybody else that's in the channel. If you want to use that radio as like a mini repeater, simplex repeater, then you would check the relay box and use an HT, much like I do around the community here, our neighborhood. I've got a cheap little Baofeng 888S, and I use that to talk to my base station, which then goes into the network channel.
Okay, yeah, I was just kind of curious where to find that at because I actually do have two RF channels bound to a network channel here. I have my N7500 set up on the 2-meter and 440 repeaters that I help maintain, and I monitor them through the app where I'm out of range, of RF, so I can just kind of keep an ear on the two repeaters there. So that's why I was just kind of curious where that option was. So I guess I have to go to the other device to try to find that setting then, because I was looking for it on the device I'm talking to, which is not connected to the N7500. I got a Sonom XP8 that's connected to the N7500, which is linked to the 2-meter and the.
Yep, roger that. Well, it's a couple-step process. So once you do your binding, you do that by pushing and holding on the RF channel, and then that little drop-down pops up. You select bind, the same one again, and then you make your other choices. Automatically, it's set to sync, but you have to do it the second time to turn on.
Okay, I'll have to go to the other device and play around with that. Yeah, so I've got those channels, bound to network channels, so that way, and I've got those channels connected on the Lex 11. So like I said, so I can monitor and talk on the 440 repeaters through the app here on this device. So I have to go back to the Sonom and then look at that. So okay, I was just curious where those settings. I don't remember seeing them when I set it up, but I just wanted to go back and just.
Yeah, very good. Well, Arthur, you've been doing a lot of stuff with some other platforms over the years, and we shared our experience together on the Orion app, and you probably were more faithful to that group than I was. You were still paying your monthly seat fees to be part of the network and use that program with all of its features. Now, comparing that with the HT app,
Well, obviously, this one has a little more, well, not a little more, a lot more flexibility. Because obviously, I guess with the Orion app, you would have to have additional hardware that I never went that far to, be able to connect it to, RF resources where here it's just kind of like readily available, just find you a, headless radio that's designed to work with this app. And then again, you got the functionality of the APRS already built in, where with Orion, you had to go through, I can't remember his name now, who had to go in there and actually set up the APRS channel and bind it to your channel in the Orion app, where here you can just do it on your own. So here you have a lot more flexibility to do things on your own without having to have others to set things up, or probably not readily available hardware to.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I do miss the bots, though. I miss Debbie the Digibot, don't you?
So yeah, I miss those. Being able to do the radio check and the check in, and then get that feedback in. So, and then having that post up on Twitter and everything. So that's missed. But again, like I said, the trade-off is the more user flexibility and functionality.
Yeah, I forgot about some of that stuff I had done too. Setting up those bots to identify when someone checked in, put it out on Twitter or in a different group or something. Yeah, those were fun days. Kind of missed that part of it. But yeah, this does offer a lot more flexibility and ease of doing some of these things and bridging and like what Edward's been doing. Anyway, thanks for getting to hear from you tonight, Arthur. Anyone else want to check in or have any questions or comments? Go ahead.
WRUM 483. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Art. People are wondering what that's all about, but Art is a good friend. We've been hanging out in Telegram and some of the digital modes over the past several years, and Art's fairly new to this thing, and he's waiting to get his radio. But what have you got to share with us tonight? Any questions or comments?
No, I don't have any questions. I just the wife just got me set up on the RT here up top. So the radio I used to use on Orion and stuff like that. So that's about it here, and just wanted to check to see how it was working.
Well, you're sounding very good. You're sounding very good. Not quite the audio range that we're used to on Telegram, but sound fantastic. Thanks for checking in.
WRTA 613. Last call on the Zello side of the group for any check-in that you guys want to do.
Okay, nothing heard. Edward, would you like to come in using a different method other than Zello to compare side by side your audio?
Stand by 1 second. WRTA 613 coming across Zello over to the HT app. This is me networking in from Zello. As you can hear, slight difference in quality. And if you're looking at the HT app, you see it says WRTA 613 base. So test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Your volume is also quite a bit different.
WRTA 613. And this is me talking on the B-Tech GMRS Pro. Linked over to the N7500. And stand by. And this is me talking from the 7500 into the phone. 3 different microphones, 3 different qualities.
Yeah, but not bad. You really have done a good job getting those balanced out. I commend you on the job finished. You did a good job. Dean, any final comments as the head of the USGMRS group? Anything you'd like to share with everybody or stir us up to get involved?
No, I don't have anything else to add other than thank you everybody for coming on over and checking in this evening, and maybe next week we'll be able to get the All-Star or the private nodes linked in as well. Unfortunately, I had kind of a last second, hey, can you do this? And there was.
No problem. And sounds like from what Rob said, you're ready to get some shut-eye before you continue on your journey out there. So thanks for checking in, everybody, and you have a wonderful evening. I hope you're enjoying the HT app and some of the things you can do with it. I know I am. I've been spending some time with another platform, thanks to Dale. Put a bug in my ear for a new operating system called Prime OS, which is Android on a PC. So right now I have got an Android, big screen Android running on my PC, and I've got the HT app up and running full screen. I've got all of the channels linked and all the audio turned off, and it's just quietly archiving it in the message channels on each one that's active. And so I can always go back in and listen to what I missed, or I can leave them all open and just hear everything that's going on all my channels, and just use that to transmit using a regular microphone on the computer. I'm not linking that at this point to any radio because it's not working with Bluetooth. I've got a Bluetooth adapter I put in there, and it's not recognizing it for some reason. So trying to work through that situation to find another way of having something permanently connected easily to my radio here in the shack. Anyway, 7-3 everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you again next week in the HT Saturday Night Live. 73 from WRON 731, Northwest Arkansas, in the Cafe USGM.
WRQJ 371. There's 17 check-ins, including you, Denny.
Hey, thanks for tracking that for us. Appreciate it.
That's looking at the Cafe USGMRS through the blue stacks, not counting what's on Zillow. So 17 is what I count on the screen. WRQJ 371.
Roger that. Well, that doesn't always mean anything. Some people are just here but not available. Just leaving their radios or their phones going as they're busy doing other things. But yeah, thanks for counting it up, though. Appreciate you. Good night.